Picture this. You run under a tent at a high school game to avoid getting drenched by the rain. You curse yourself for forgetting your umbrella. Not 5 minutes in, before you even got settled into your seat, a group of white boys around your age but much larger begin harassing you. They tell you that you're not welcome and that you should leave, but you stand your ground and refuse to walk back out into the downpour outside. They begin to circle you, getting louder and more aggressive. You begin to sweat as you mentally prepare for what might happen next. Then one of them pushes you out of your seat and flat on your butt. What's your next move? Do you curl into the fetal position while these much larger kids send a barrage of punches and kicks your way? Or do you fight back in an attempt to protect and defend yourself? For Karmelo Anthony, his act of self-defense changed his life in the worst way imaginable. But before I get into this video, I just want to stop and introduce myself. Hello there! I'm Tam the Yapper, and welcome to my commentary channel, where I talk about stuff that just pops up to my head, which is a lot. So get yourself nice and comfy, have some water nearby, because I have so much to speak on, and this is a very heavy topic. Now, before I get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I'm going to lay down some ground rules and give a disclaimer. I don't want to see any racism in the comments. If I see a single racist comment from anyone towards anyone, you will be blocked and reported, and you might wake up to your job telling you they got an email talking about your online footprint. You can try that if you want to. You're going to be trying in the unemployment office. And as for disclaimer, this video will be talking about racism and the murder of children. So if you feel like this video will trigger you in any way, shape, or form, please click off this video. I should have a more lighthearted video in the eye up here. And please take care of yourselves. Okay? I'm being so serious. This is a very hard topic. So as of June 9th of 2026, now 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony was found guilty of the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf following an altercation at a high school track meet. But the evidence and witness reports show that this case was more of self-defense and not murder. Editor Tam here. So there's also some CCTV footage that they had, but they had claimed that they didn't use it in court due to them not being able to have good quality. But I'm fairly certain that we could have distinguished a black blob from a few white blobs. So please be so fucking for real. But anyway, let's continue. So let us retrace our steps to how this all happened. On April 2nd, 2025, a track meet was being hosted at the David Kendall Stadium between the Frisco Independent High School and Memorial High School. And for context, this takes place in Collins County, Texas. And Texas is a very red and very racist state. They also are one of the many states in the Deep South that have stand your ground laws. Now, the weather was pretty rough with heavy rain, so the meet was delayed until there was better weather. And on that day, a then 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was allegedly called over to the tent by a friend to hide out from the rain. And this tent belonged to members of the Memorial High School team. And seeing that someone from a different school, and to be completely honest with you, someone of a different ethnicity, was under the tent, Austin Metcalf began harassing Anthony and telling him to leave, which Anthony then said no, for obvious reasons. It's raining out there. Austin, his twin brother Hunter, and their friends, all big burly white teens that are on the football team, began surrounding Anthony and continuing the harassment. Now, I'll go between Anthony and Karmelo throughout this video, so please bear with me. Anthony saw them getting closer and said, "Touch me and see what happens," which is not what people say is inciting violence. That is a statement of self-defense. That is a declaration of self-defense. He didn't say it the corporate way, which is basically, if you put your hands on me, I am inclined to defend myself. He didn't say it the corporate way, but that is still a declaration of self-defense, point blank period. An altercation then ensued where Austin shoved Karmelo, and then Karmelo reached into his backpack and grabbed a 3-inch pocket knife and stabbed Austin in the chest. Now, with this, he was very unlucky with his aim, because that knife hit Austin Metcalf's heart wall, according to the medical examiner's office. And after seeing the wound and all that blood pouring out, Karmelo ran. He dropped his knife and ran. He was just scared. And I'm saying that he dropped his knife and ran because the other kids that were with Austin and Hunter were like, oh, he was going to stab somebody else. He was going to stab somebody else. No. Once he saw that Austin was hurt bad, he dropped his knife and ran because he didn't know what else to do. He was scared. Editor Tam again. I forgot to put in the video that Karmelo Anthony ran to find his coach. His name escapes me at the moment, but he ran to find his coach to attempt to get help for Austin. After a few minutes, Karmelo was found, caught, and arrested. And according to a witness statement, he had said, in between sobs, I told him not to touch me. The verdict came from multiple things, for multiple reasons, but the two reasons that really drove it home were the other white teenagers painting Karmelo Anthony as the villain, saying that he was going to hurt somebody else, that he insinuated the fight, and also there was a lack of black jurors. It was mostly white men and Asian women, predominantly West Asian and Southeast Asian women. And let's not forget for a minute how some of y'all in the black community painted Karmelo as a villain and a crash out too. Let's not forget that, because I see you on the internet, saying, oh, he should have walked away. He should have just walked away. He lacked emotional intelligence.
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
Really? Emotional intelligence from a 17-year-old boy? Mind you, some of y'all are 30, 40, and 50 and don't have a lick of emotional intelligence y'all damn self. Matter of fact, the frontal lobe, the one responsible for decision making, does not fully develop until the age of 25, sometimes 30. And for y'all calling Karmelo a crash out.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He is a 3.7 GPA student. He worked 2 part-time jobs. He was the captain of the track and football team at his school. And for the record, he had 0 suspensions. Like, y'all are so quick to adultify a black child and then turn around and infantilize a white child. But let me get back to the case before I get ahead of myself. No, actually, let's go off track real quick, because some of y'all are just straight or just have never been the only black person in a room of white. Okay? Y'all have never been the black person in a room of white, and you haven't had that inkling feeling at the back of your neck like something bad is about to happen. Y'all haven't had that feeling because y'all aren't in tune with the ancestors. That inkling feeling at the back of your neck like someone's whispering for you to leave, that's the ancestors talking to you. They're trying to warn you about what may happen to you. Like, some of y'all genuinely have never been in a situation where you're the only black person in a room of white people, and they are getting intoxicated, they are getting angry, or both. And sometimes you don't have to be the only black person in a room. You could be a black person within a 30-mile radius and still face the ire of a white person. But back to Karmelo Anthony's case, this justice system doesn't really care about lethal self-defense unless the perpetrator of the self-defense is a white boy. Prime example, that would be Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse, age 17 at the time, decided to walk his happy ass in a Black Lives Matter protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, with an illegal assault rifle and shot 3 people, killing 2. And the names of those who were killed were Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber, and the man wounded was Gage Grosskreutz. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right. But of course, because he's a 17-year-old white kid, he was acquitted of all charges. And this is just giving more evidence to the claim of how white children are infantilized, but black children are adultified. Black boys are seen as future thugs, troublemakers, little future problems for the community, so to speak. Whereas black girls are seen as fast or provocative. They are labeled Jezebels sometimes before they even had their first period. And that adultification of black children has led to the deaths of many, many black children. In fact, this website, Project Say Their Names, has a list of not just children but adults that have been murdered by police in the US. And I'm going to just read off a few because there are multiple. Micaiah Bryant, age 16, Isaiah Lewis, age 17, Jordan Edwards, age 15, Tyree King, age 13, Amir Rice, age 12, Darnisha Diana Harris, age 16, Ayana Monet Stanley, age 7. These children deserve to grow old, and Karmelo deserved to not be spending 35 years in a prison cell. But the bright side is that Karmelo Anthony did file an appeal to get a retrial because, let's be completely honest here, he was set up for failure. We're not going to just sugarcoat what's going on. He was obviously set up for failure by a justice system that just wants to see him as another body in a prison to exploit him for labor, because we all know at this point that the prison system is basically just an excuse to have black people still as slaves. And I also want to point out all the death threats that Karmelo Anthony's family, his mother and father, have gotten, to the point where they had to pack up and move to a different location because their address was doxed and people were just nonstop sending them death threats. So I do not blame them. If they did use the give, send, go money that they received from kind donations, I do not blame them if they used that money to move elsewhere. Because what else were they supposed to do? Were they supposed to get their house burned down by a white mob, or were they just going to let that happen? Like, no. I generally don't blame them for wanting to move for their safety and for their child's safety. I'm not going to sit here and say that they shouldn't have did that. They absolutely should have did that with the amount of threatening language and threatening actions coming their way. I do not blame them at all. I blame those that allowed it to happen. Now, to end this video, I'm going to say something that will be deemed extremely controversial, but I'm sure a lot of y'all have clicked off this video by now, so I'm just going to say it anyway. Austin Metcalf's parents are to blame for him no longer being in the mortal realm. His parents, predominantly his father, instilled that racist rhetoric into these boys' minds. Both his sons got that racist mindset from their father.
You're not oppressed. You're fucking entitled. You know what DEI stands for? Yeah, means.
And that's why your son's dead, Jeff. Because of you. Everything you said on TikTok Live convinced me that you normalize this type of rhetoric in your household. You normalize this type of behavior. Those poor boys grew up listening to a racist bigoted. Not only say these things, but also be abusive to the mother. Austin was the leader. He was the dumb one. At least Hunter hesitated. And that is why he's alive. Austin was a chip off the old block. You conditioned your boys to leave your house to impose themselves in other people's affairs. And to the noodle spine white people who were afraid to say, yo, fuck that, I love being white, but we have to coexist with black people, these two motherfuckers were bullies. You're also the reason why Austin is dead. Because if you would have stood up and say, yo, no, fuck that, these dudes are the problem, they've been the problem, They're bigger than everyone. They bully people. No, 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 no. Because if you were a real father, you would have educated your son the importance of looking at people who don't look like you, to take in consideration how they may feel being outnumbered, staying in a city, going to a school where they're the minority, wondering if they're afraid, scared, not having that representation. Nah. This white America is what happens in white households. Normalized behavior with the rhetoric. And these fucking kids leave the house and they do that shit at school. And when they're big and bad and bigger than everyone, they impose themselves on people like they're the fucking police, expecting people to comply and do what the fuck they say. It's your fault, Jeff. And I hope you're haunted by your actions and your rhetoric. If you were a more genuine human being, teaching your children to love people, to care about people, and most importantly, take in consideration other people's shit, your son would be there for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and his fucking birthday.
Okay, I'm gonna try my best to keep this video short. People keep saying the verdict is justified because he had every opportunity to leave. He should not have had a knife. He had every opportunity to leave. And I want y'all to know that black people just want to be left alone. We're tired of y'all, actually. Okay? Leave black people alone. Okay? There would be no altercation if a boy who was suspended from school hadn't been bullying that young man. Okay? All we're asking is to be left alone. But you got to follow us around grocery stores. You got to follow us around the mall. You got to be nasty and rude when we're out at the beach with our family. You got to question why we're in certain spaces, and you need validation and you need references. You require all this stuff as a person with zero authority to tell me to do any doggone thing. And all I'm saying is, as a black, because I know y'all like to call us that behind closed doors, as a black, okay, I personally would like to be left the hell alone. That's it. We're not asking you to give us anything anymore, okay? just space, peace. Give us that. Can you shut the hell up and go to hell? I am begging y'all to please shut the hell up. Leave black people alone. And if you can find it in your heart, go to hell.
And to be completely honest with you, a lot of white people have the mindset of Jeff Metcalf. Y'all just want to see black people, especially black children, in prison or dead. Y'all want to see black people, especially black women, struggle in the workforce to make a livable wage because of all the racial wage gap that y'all put in place. Y'all don't see us as human, and you never have. You over-police our communities. And if we get too big for our britches, y'all commit massacres by burning down our towns, flooding our towns, or even bombing our damn neighborhoods. White people will never live down the accusations that they are the most hate-filled group of people on this planet. And if this isn't going to wake up the black community to just organize and push out these tap dancing and create something to where we can be left at peace without prying eyes, and I don't know what will. I really don't. I genuinely just want us to organize better. If that means we gotta exclude these tap dance, shuck and jive black folks, then hey, what did Harriet Tubman do? She shot for less. Okay? But I genuinely hope that Karmelo Anthony's appeal goes through and he gets a retrial, and they are smart and that they are fair with the jury. But how the American justice system is, I highly doubt that's going to happen. I highly doubt he'll spend less than 35 years in prison. They'll probably try and get him to spend more time in prison just by him not making his bed right, or him saying something that they deemed as offensive to another prisoner. They will find anything to keep black children out of society. They will do anything to keep black people out of society. They will do anything to make sure black people are at the bottom where they think we belong. So as the black community, we have to organize. We have to protect our youth. We have to do better. If that means teaching our children self-defense in any way, shape, or form, if that means teaching our children with to use self-defense without using a weapon, then so be it. But at the same time, they're going to see our children as the aggressors either way. Whether they defend themselves with fists or they defend themselves with a weapon, they will see our children as the aggressors because that's how they've adultified black children so bad that no matter what a black kid does, they can't be seen as a kid in the eyes of white supremacy. They are stripped of their childhood. And it's just so unfair how black children cannot experience a true childhood while every other child, especially white children, get the best childhood, so to speak. But that's all I have for right now before my blood pressure increases and my doctor cusses me out. If you like this video, then give it a like, comment, and share to educate others. And if you really like this video and want to see more like this, then please subscribe. Anyways, wash your hands, stay hydrated, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, mask up. And I'll add one more thing to this just for this video. And I might keep this as a running theme if you guys like it. But leave black people alone. If you see us, in the supermarket, leave us alone. If you see us at school, leave us alone. If you see us in a library, leave us alone. If you see us going into our homes, leave us alone. If you see us going on a jog, leave us alone. If you see us going out to get ice cream, leave us alone. It's that simple. You can do that little nod or whatever, but other than that, leave us alone. Anyway, I will see you guys the next time I have a think piece. Hopefully it'll be a little lighter than this, but with how the justice system treats us, I highly doubt it. And even though I'm not a true crime channel, the stuff that white supremacy has done, the stuff that the U.S. justice system has done to black people is very criminal. And you can't change my mind any way, shape, or form. Anyway, take care now.